Say hi to James. Made me an entrepreneur. Teaching me day after day after day till it all was a blur. Now he on tour, he can drop in your city tonight. Never Zine coming in for the fight. Making that powerful statement, saying that you meant for greatness. Better be ready for absolute.
Good morning, Absolute Nation. Listen, I got to tell you, there is nothing better than seeing you guys, talking to you, speaking life and encouragement to a crowd that I know can encourage the world. I've got some great things to just announce today that are going to be coming. I've got some interviews with celebrities that you've been waiting to meet. I've got some dynamic people that'll be coming on talking about what's happening in our live events. Nav and Azim and I are looking forward to doing worldwide tours. Australia will be coming there. We'll be coming to Dubai. We'll be coming to India, Sierra Leone. And listen, when I tell you that this thing is bigger than what we are today, because of the work we did yesterday, it's true for every one of us. Whatever it is that you're working on, you got to understand that everything that you're doing has a season and a reason and time. You don't see it in the moment because you're already living in the now. But you got to be bigger than now. You got to be bigger than the second you're in. Because even though you're present doesn't mean that's your presence. You're bigger than that. It just doesn't show up until you put in the work so that it'll show up on a paycheck later. Kind of like when you go in, if you ever had to work an hourly job, you clock in, you don't get the check the same day. You get your check at the end of the 2 weeks or the waiting period or whatever it is, but it's always well worth it. You know it's coming. There are things that got to come out of it. Same things when it comes to your talents, gifts, and abilities. You have to put something into something for it to come out with something. You don't just get to go ahead and show up and say, here is who I am, give me, give me. Your talent doesn't work that way. You have to have it refined. Anything that hasn't been tested can't be trusted. And you have to be able to go through that testing period. Today, we're going to be going on Instagram right after we finish here. I just wanted to come on and tell you, I need you to make sure you show up in Loretto, Tennessee. Tickets are only $200. It's a 5-star resort, $200. But we're doing this because we want you to see the place, get the atmosphere, and learn from the people that we have. Listen, when I tell you the greatness is something that you can acquire, all you have to do is tap into what it takes to get it out of you. You want to know what it takes? You have to go through seasons. Let me give you the first season. You have to be willing to start off small. And by small, I'm not talking about who you are as a person. I'm talking about who you are to other people. If you can't walk in with a room with humility and the ability to be coached, challenged, or provoked to be more, then you're not ready. You have to go through a season where you're like a seed that goes in the ground and you got to be dropped and separated from those you came in the pack with. You went to school with this guy, went to college with this guy. This girl was your best friend. You were going to do, it doesn't matter what they are. It matters how far you want to go. If you want to go far, they say go together, not together in that sense, because your tribe hasn't even shown up from inception. Your tribe shows up later, but you got to be willing to be separated from the pack. Like puppies that go off to different homes, there are some that come out that are pet quality, some will be champions, but it's based on the DNA collection in that person. You can be born with twins, and be a part of a twin set, but just because of that doesn't make you identical as a person. Your identity is unique to you and you alone. Your gifts, your talents, your abilities are given to you by God, from God, on purpose, without question. And so I want to go ahead and make sure that you understand that you have the opportunity to do some amazing things. Just don't blow it. I just had a call, trying to come in. Our good friend Kelly Cardenas was calling in. But I had to put him on hold because I got to speak to all of you guys. And I want to share this with you. The challenge is when you're separated, not to feel like you've been isolated. When you've been separated from others, it doesn't mean you've been abandoned. Sometimes, in order to go somewhere, you've got to be able to separate yourselves because the hallway to greatness is narrow. Many people will never choose to be put in a line. Like when you're planting seeds, they dig it out, they drop in seeds, and they give distance for you to grow. In order for you to grow, there are times where you have to place distance between you and others. When that happens, it gives you chance to be able to stretch, grow while being covered up. Because this is what happens with a seed and it happens in life. Your talents will be covered up under the layer or your insecurity. It'll be covered up under the self doubt and doubts and questions, challenging and competition. But can you sprout up through the competition? Can you have the right thing to do? Well, remember that the dirt that gets thrown on you or dirt get put on your name, don't worry about trying to prove people wrong because that fuel runs out. But what you do have to worry about is when the dirt is piled up on you, is that you grab the nutrients out of it. If it's manure that's thrown on your name, understand that that's still marketing and advertising. You don't have to claim it. You don't have to accept it. You just have to remember that you're exceptional. And after you've done that, you have to take a look at the other things that come with it. That once you are watered, once you get something nurturing, something happens in your life. Oh my goodness, that's the great thing because you'll begin to break through that dirt and realize the very thing that was covering you up was protecting you. You couldn't have handled the direct sunlight on you from the beginning. You couldn't handle just stepping out on stage from the beginning. Grabs your attention. You almost have to develop the calluses that are necessary to do the hard work. I ask them to do work so hard that other people would quit. There are times where I've wondered, and when will this happen? And perhaps you're sitting there wondering if and when. If this happens, when will this happen? If that happened, when will that happen? It's not just the if and when. It's if you'll put in the work, it will happen. The thing that you've been looking at is the fact that when is somebody going to finally give me my worth? When are they going to acknowledge me, the work that I put in? When will I get credit for it? When will I get accepted for it? If you'll continually put in the work, if you'll dive in and not quit, if you'll not give in, if you're not throwing the towel, if you'll just keep going, the gardener himself, I'm talking about God, will see you and say, when it's time, that's the person. Pick them up and elevate them. And so will other people. Your talent will make room. Your gifts will make room for you. But when you get into the room, you have to operate in such a way that it seems like you knew you belonged there because you know what you went through to get there. Leave it no question for those who have already been there, been used to that, because as you're coming up, somebody else may be coming down. And what you'll find is that have humility because the pathway that you see them coming down and you're going up, one day you may have to go there yourself. But the great thing is that if you can make it so that you're an evergreen, what's an evergreen? The ability to keep growing when the other people are fading. No matter who the speaker is, no matter what the gift is, no matter what the talent is, Humphrey Bogart will never be as big as he was at one moment. Michael Jackson was bigger at one moment than at another. Whoever you are, your name will not always be at the top because there will be a generation that forgets what you did. There's a crowd that still doesn't know who you are, but there's a crowd who's signed to you as well. But if you pull out what's left in you and you put that into the earth, that thing will go around. That thing can show up beyond your name. Encouragement and motivation start from the inner side, and it must move you. If it moves you, it can move them. If it moves them, it continues. It's like energy. And even though you might inspire John, John goes on to become big. Jane picks up after that person. It continues on. There's a momentum and a movement. That's why absolute motivation is not locked down to a person, it is locked down to the personification of greatness that we all can reach. If you don't understand the pathway to greatness, you must accept the fact that you are going through a season with reason. Go through it and embrace it. If you're in the dirt and it feels like nothing's happening because you don't understand that it takes time to develop greatness, it doesn't happen overnight. If you want what someone else has, you got the wrong thing. If you're looking over and saying, I like their plot of land, I'd rather be there, that's envy. And anything you can envy, you can already be. You can do what they can do without having to squash them or kill them or pretend to be them. Just be you. But be you in such a way that it stands out to the rest of the world. There is no way in you will find another version of you somewhere else. Someone can imitate, someone can pretend to be, but they can only be one you. You're an original. For every person that says, man, what a voice James Earl Jones had. But there was another voice that was very similar, right, named Lou Rawls. But Lou Rawls had his whole different role. He didn't need to be James Earl. But if you knew James Earl's story, you know that he had a stuttering issue and a challenge and a problem. And if it wasn't for Darth Vader being a Scottish guy that just didn't sound strong enough, and they gave him a role and he struggled through it and it made him iconic. It forced him to work on his talent, forced him to push past his stuttering, forced him to get rid of such a distinguishable accent that he had to become universal because the opportunities in life presented itself and he had to be willing to represent himself. You need to do the same. What's your talent? What's your gift? What's your ability? Are you willing to go through something to become something? I can tell you that if all the people that I have, every one of them has faced something that destroyed them. There's a saying that when it comes to success, everyone claims to be the father of that. But when it comes to failure, everyone wants to make it an orphan. No one takes credit. I would tell you that that's the opposite of how success works. Your failures are what turns you into something. Your failures are necessary. They are a needed component to the greatness that becomes what you will be. So if you've been failing, if you've been frustrated, if you felt like growing up saying this is not something that's working for me, everything seems to be. Yes, man, if you've lost your appetite for growth in life, regain it. Work up the appetite. Want more, become more, determined to be more. Everyone goes through struggle. The struggle will turn you into someone that others value, need, and qualify themselves to be that. Your roots will take root. Your growth will take place. And the way that I'm talking to you is because I care for you. I stand there as an audience with one saying, man, I believe in who you are. You can apply this to your soul. You can apply this to your mind. You can apply this to your life. We have sponsors that are coming on that'll be a part of the things that we do at the events. We're looking for people that have something to offer the world, something they can bring to the table that just makes sense. Guys, I want to thank you for who you are, what's coming out of you. For those of you who are willing to dig deep, be planted, go through the seasons of isolation, I'm going to tell you, your market price just went up. Keep, because the true part is coming. The day will of production, day of results, is waiting. That's all I have for you this morning. I'll see you guys on Instagram. Love who you are. Love who you'll be. Make sure you get your tickets for November 23rd, Loretto, Tennessee at the Keystone Theater. We're going to be there. The resort is there. All you had to do is look up Keystone Resort, give a call, say, hey, I need a ticket. They're handling all those things. This is how we do it. God bless each and every one of you. Till next time.
Say hi to James. Made me an entrepreneur. Teaching me day after day after day till it all was a blur. Now he on tour, he can drop in your city tonight. Never the Zen coming in for the fight.